Now, most people think that it's what we see in dreams that makes the difference. But in actual fact, sometimes it can be what we hear in the dreams that is a prophetic encouragement. And of course, prophecy is for encouraging, comforting, and strengthening. So I've got a beautiful testimony I was just thinking about as I was walking to an appointment in the streets of Melbourne that I wanted to share with you. Back in 2021, my sister in July passed away unexpectedly. We knew the 24 hours before that she was going to pass, and yes, it was very sad. But the beautiful thing in the midst of all of the sadness was what God did for me to encourage me and comfort me, and to just know that He was there and that she was going to be okay. My son, when we got home from having to see her at the hospital, my son said to me, "What time did she pass away, Mum? What time did she pass away?" And I said, I let him know. And he said to me, "Mum, I dreamt at that time, I dreamt a dream of her. I saw her in my dream." And I said, "Oh, tell me about it." Because it's usual for children and for us to have dreams where God talks to us about various things. So what he actually ended up explaining to me was that he was down at the beach close to where we live, and he was looking through a frame, and through that frame there was a vision that he saw, or he'd see the beach, and my sister was dressed in a bridal gown, and she was walking into the water. She was walking into the sea on the Bay of Melbourne where I live. And he said she was dressed in the bridal gown. She looked back at him and smiled, and then she just disappeared upwards in a puff of purple smoke or purple mist. He said there was also a sound, but he said to me, "I can't remember what that sound was." So it took a couple of days, but all of a sudden we were driving home, and out from the back of the car he piped up and he said to me, "Mum, I remember what the sound was in that dream." I said, "What was the sound?" He said, "Mum, it was the sound of life." Now, there's a movie called the Jumanji movie, and in that the characters are they're thrown into a video game, and in that video game they have 3 lives. And what happens in that video game is that when they die, they would get another life, and there would be this sound, this bring, as they dropped back into the video game. It was the sound of new life. And so what my son was hearing was the sound of new life in the dream. So the prophetic message for me, whilst him seeing her in a bridal gown walking into the ocean and disappearing in a cloud of purple smoke, which speaks of royalty, that she was part of the body of Christ, that she was part of the bride of Christ. But what also spoke to me so powerfully was the message of the sound that he had heard. The primary message was, it was the sound of life. Now, my sister struggled for many years with a lot of many things. And it was right back in her 20s, she passed in her 50s, that she'd actually given her heart to Jesus Christ in an exchange all those years ago. But I never really saw much of a manifestation of it, to be perfectly honest. But when my son had that dream, and he heard the sound of new life, for me it was confirmation that she was okay, that she was going to be okay. It was the sound of new life. She was part of the bride of Christ. But other dreams where I have actually seen her with my father, who passed away in 1997. But it was the sound of new life. So it was a sound in the dream that was the most important element for me. It was the sound that was encouraging, comforting, and strengthening for me in those days and months and even years that followed, when the grief would hit and I would think, the struggle is gone. She's no longer sad. She's with Jesus. She's with my dad. It's going to be okay. It was a sound of new life. So I'm nearly where I need to go for my appointment, on the streets of Melbourne. So blessings I hope you enjoyed that very brief teaching. So important to catch the fact that God can speak to us in so many different ways, including dreams, including dreams. Anyway, we'll catch you soon. Hey, Jacinto and Betty, I'll jump on another time, but I'm going to wind up now. So much love. I hope you enjoyed that brief teaching. Bye for now.